Alright boys, we are officially 1 week into ownership with the G87. So this video is going to be my 1 week ownership review of the G87. And I think it's going to be a good one, man. I've learned a lot about this car in just a week. Headlight is getting replaced tomorrow. So finally getting that taken care of. But yeah, really enjoyed it so far. Man, I love the black on this thing. Some people were like, why'd you get the black? It's the most boring color. I think this car looks really good in black. If you keep the key on you, it'll just keep locking and unlocking, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. Remote start has been an absolute game changer.
I'm going to show you how to get into a G87 with carbon buckets the proper way without ruining the bolster. Foot, hand, here, over bolstering it.
So the way you're going to do this, your feet first, hand here, and that allows your leg to go over the bolster. That's how you avoid getting all of that wear and tear on this bolster. Seems like a lot, it's really not. Super easy. All right, so 1 week in with the G87 M2, and how am I feeling about it? Am I over it? Do I already want to send it back? What's the consensus on this car? So long story short, obviously I'm not over it. No, I do not want to send it back. It's exactly what I thought it would be. You know, it's a smaller sports car. If you are not used to smaller, like two-door smaller sports cars, this is going to be some adjustment for you. Me, I have a garage full of them. I've always owned smaller sports cars. I've kind of just gravitated towards these cars. So for me personally, this is nothing new, and it's what I prefer, to be honest. Now I say small, obviously this car is not small in terms of like M2 speak. This is obviously not a small car. They've gotten larger over the years, they've gotten heavier over the years, and that seems to be like the largest complaint that people have about these cars is the weight. But I've got to be honest, when you're driving the car, you really don't feel it that much. You get used to it relatively quickly. This car makes a lot of power and a lot of torque from the factory, so it's not really something that, I mean, you know, my lighter cars feel a lot slower than this car. But because this has a S58 in it, and the S58 power plant is just superb, so it's a really great car. But I'm going to give you this review because I've been daily driving this car, and that's really like why I bought this car. I really just think that this is such a good all-around vehicle for what I do, and I'll kind of explain that, and we'll talk about why I like it. So, and you know, the options that I have as well. So first things first, you guys were asking about where I got this sweatshirt. It's from a company called Bimmer World, if you are one of those guys. So Bimmer World is a BMW parts catalog company. They are really, really awesome. Great guys over there. Good YouTube channel, lots of great information. Go check them out. But they sell these hoodies on their website, and I'll link it down below if I can find it. But yeah, awesome hoodie, rain design, pretty cool, throwback. All right, so the G87, I've wanted one of these for quite a while. I've been searching for one for like 3 months, finally found the one I want that had all of the options and everything that I was looking for. Super, super happy about that because I wasn't quite sure if I was gonna be able to find the one that I wanted. The market is pretty crazy on these right now in terms of if you want, you know, one that isn't Zandvoort blue, that isn't manual, that has carbon buckets. It's pretty difficult to find that, but I got pretty lucky and I found the one that I wanted. Ended up paying $62,000 for this car. The person who spec'd it out, I believe it was $77,000, I want to say, with everything included. I believe that's what the window sticker said. So that was what the original person paid, $77,000. I ended up paying $62,000, has 8,000 miles on it. And after a week, dude, it's been an awesome car. I feel like this car can kind of just do everything. And I was telling my fiance Lauren about this last night, or the other night when we went out to dinner, because we took this car to dinner. And she's like, we're gonna take your new car? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's why I bought it. It's like, it's a nice car. I want to drive it, you know? I don't feel scared to drive this thing to dinner. Am I gonna drive my 1M clone to dinner? Like a nice dinner out with my lady? No. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be taking that car out like a nice... That's a weekend car. It's just different. It's just a different car. And a lot of people are like, oh, compare this to your 1M clone, or compare this to your E92 M3. I'm like, bro, you cannot. They're just completely different cars. Like, if you're gonna compare this car, compare it to like a G82 or a G80. That would be something that would make a little bit more sense than like comparing it to like a 135 or an E92 M3. Just completely different cars. So the consensus is, you know, this car can pretty much do everything. And that's one of the reasons that I really, really like it. You know, it's fast, it can be a track car, it can be a road car, it can be a commute car. It's comfortable, in my opinion. Now, if you're not used to a smaller sports car with a stiffer suspension straight from the factory, this is something that's gonna take some getting used to. The suspension, the OEM suspension in this car, it's pretty stiff. I mean, it's definitely, if you're going on a road trip, like you're gonna feel it. And then you add in the bucket seats. I mean, you know, if you're a little bit older or a little bit larger, this car is not going to be as forgiving for you, and you might, whoa, buddy, and this might not be the one for you. You know, it is a little bit smaller. It does have a sportier suspension. It's, you know, got the carbon buckets. Like, for a lot of people, that's probably not going to work out. But, you know, I'm used to driving older cars. I'm used to driving cars on full coilovers with bucket seats. Like, this is nothing new to me. And combining the comfort with the tech and the sportiness, for me personally, this is like the perfect combination, because I really look for something in my daily commute that has a little bit of spice, has a little bit of fun. I don't want to just sit here and be bored on my way to work or wherever I'm going. I want to have a little fun, and I also want the comfort, and I also want the tech, and I also want the speed. And this car really just kind of does all of that super, super well. So from that aspect, I think this car is really well-rounded, especially for the price. So let's talk about price. $62,000 is what I paid for this. You can find them for about that much or even less depending on the spec. This, like I said before, you know, this was a specific spec that I wanted, so I paid $62,000. I think that's a pretty good deal for this car. You got to look at it like this: the G80s and the G82s, they're still quite expensive. Those are $100,000 cars. At least some of them were when they were originally spec'd out from the manufacturer, even more in some cases, depending on what you got. And a lot of people were really buying those cars for, well, the looks and the way it drives, and then also, you know, the S58 power plant. This is a really great way to get into the S58 power plant in a car, not like an X3M or anything like that, that is not 100 grand, you know, that isn't 80 grand, that is a little bit more affordable. And so if you are interested in getting into that platform and you want to do so by not completely breaking the bank, you know, I'm not saying that $62,000 isn't a lot for a car, because in general that is quite a bit for a vehicle. But if you can afford it and $60,000 is quite where you want to be with the car, this is a fantastic option, because you're getting into that power plant at a fraction of the price. So you kind of get to experience what you would get to experience in a G80 M3 or a G82 M4 at a significantly lower cost. Now, if you need the space of a G80 or a G82, this is probably not going to be the car for you, for obvious reasons, right? Like, if you need that space, then this car might be a little tight. Like the back seat, there is a back seat, but there ain't much there. There's like no legroom. So, and if you have kids and all that, and you're just constantly moving them in and out of the car, this might not be the one for you. I would probably go with something like the G82 or the G80. But nonetheless, I've been really happy with it. I don't have kids, so that's kind of a non-issue yet. But hey, you know, I got the wagon, so we can fill the house up, and we can put the kids in the wagon, and we're good, right? So coming from someone who has owned some older cars, you know, some of the things that I really like about this car, I love having all of the tech. It's something that, you know, part of me is like, oh, I'm like the older, like no iDrive, manual, like single hump type of dude, analog feel. This is a really nice alternative. It does everything that you want it to do. It does it well. It's effective. It gives you all of the information you need. It's easy to learn the layout. It's easy to understand like what you need to go to change things. At first I was a big concern, like, oh, you mean I don't have dials for my climate? I mean, it's right here. It's not difficult. You know, you just literally hit the climate menu and it comes up and you have everything you need. It's really not that big of a headache. Like in the beginning, there was a lot of people who were like, oh, that iDrive's stupid, it looks dumb. I get it, you're not into it. you just kind of have to like give it a shot. You know what I mean? You got to be open to other styles. Now, it doesn't feel like I'm driving some Tesla. You know, a lot of people were like, oh, they're turning into Teslas. No, not it, dude. You're still driving an M2. It just has a little bit more tech to it, and it's a little bit nicer in the interior. I think it's dope. I really like this interior, especially at night. It looks so freaking good. Like the ambient lighting, like these light up, this lights up. It just looks really dope. So from the tech standpoint, really enjoying the tech, even coming from older cars. You know, I think that is honestly, after I drove these cars for quite a while, that was one of the reasons that I wanted to buy it, because I liked the tech in the car. And I like having the cars that are a little bit more techy, and then some of my other cars are not. It's just fun to have both, I guess, you know? Some things that I'll touch on. There is a charger down here for your phone. It's not my favorite. Just the phone gets like super hot. I don't really think it charges that well. I mean, it's a cool little feature, but I don't know. I would probably just prefer to have a little tray space there or something. I don't think that this thing works that well, and the phone gets like super, super hot. Other thing I don't like in the interior is the steering wheel. I've talked about this before. I'm just not a fan of this wheel, so I'm opting for the 2025, the LCI version steering wheel, and I'm going to do that in Alcantara. I just think that looks way nicer in this interior. But these are nuanced things. Like, these are little things that you can change with the car, and that's really not a problem at all. In terms of gas mileage, so gas mileage is something that I'm sort of getting used to still. I will say I'm noticing that this car tends to drink a bit more gas than I am used to. I could fill up the wagon, man, and that thing, I wouldn't have to fill it up again for weeks. This thing is like, every week I'm filling it up. You know what I mean? Sometimes even sooner. Now, I did just get the car, so I have been driving it the way it's intended, right? I'm having a little more fun with the car. So that's probably part of it too. I'm definitely being a little bit more heavy-footed because I just got the car and I want to enjoy it. And I like the speed of everything and I like to feel it. So I'm definitely burning through a bit more gas than I typically would. But I will say this car does drink a bit more than I am used to. If that's something that you are concerned about, you know, maybe that's something to think about. But other than that, I mean, it's not like something that you really notice. Like, it's not terrible on gas, but it do be drinking a little bit. It do be drinking a little bit. Sound, the car is obviously 100% factory, and I think it sounds pretty good. Like, it's not obviously loud at all. I think where people start to encounter a lot of issues in terms of sound with these cars is when they go catless and they run specific exhaust setups. I just think these cars just, I don't know, man, they get to a point where they're just way too like high-pitched, raspy, like almost tin can sounding, and they just sound terrible. Especially the burbles with like catless and open exhausts sound atrocious. They're like pat, 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 like really, really high pitched, like just cracks. It sounds really bad. So, but in the cabin, like everything sounds really good, especially with the factory exhaust. I think it sounds awesome. Car is super fast. The brakes are good. Brakes are really good. I'm on OEM brakes. I have the blue calipers. I have nothing wrong with these brakes at all. However, I will be changing out the pads to something. However, I will be changing out the pads to something a little bit better, a little bit more bite to them, and hopefully a little less dust. That's the other thing with these cars, the G8Xs, man, in general. Prepare for the OEM brake dust, my friends, because it is crazy. The wheels on this car turn brown within like a day of driving it. And like, I'm talking brown. By far the worst brake dust I've experienced on any of my BMWs. So that is something that we're also experiencing as we dive into it. But also, you know, again, this is something that you can change and you can fix and you can remedy pretty easily. Suspension, I think, is really good. Like I said before, it's a little bit firm, but I like that. I prefer it. I did get the Evolve spring and spacer set for this car to kind of show some people a simple option of just throwing on a cheap and easy and affordable and effective solution for suspension that will lower the car a little bit. It won't slam it, won't do anything like that, but it will lower it a little bit, and you'll get a little spacer set up to make the wheels and tires look a little bit better as well. One thing I have noticed with my CarPlay is that it tends to say no active source here, and it will just say like unknown when it up here it's playing the song, which is kind of weird. I don't know what that's about, but just a little thing that I have noticed with some of the tech stuff, and some other users have reported that as well. The headlight issue, I'm just kind of going through some of the things. The headlight issue is a bit weird. I will say, you know, I have read online of other people having this problem. So if you have a G Series BMW and you are experiencing water in your headlight, I'm talking water, not like a little bit of fog, a little bit of condensation. I'm talking dripping water on the inside. Take your car to the dealership and have them replace it, because that is not normal. It should not, there should not be dripping water on the inside of the headlight. And even if the water goes away, which it eventually did on this side, it will come back the moment that you wash the car or it rains. And also, once that water dissipates in there, you'll have like a film of like dirt, basically, just like from whatever the water was inside of it. So definitely check that out. Get it replaced under warranty, because that is not normal and that should not be happening on your BMW. Don't let them tell you, oh, it's normal, it's just condensation. If there's water physically dripping inside, get it replaced. That's not normal. And it can also get into your modules, it can get into the lights, it can burn things up. It could cause a ton of issues, and it would be way more expensive down the road. So when I took delivery of this thing, I noticed that right off the rip, and I took it right to the dealership, and I was like, yo, this doesn't look normal. They confirmed. Now it goes in for a new headlight. I asked them what the price of the headlight was in case I want to just do it myself. It's $2,600. Why would I go do it myself? Well, who knows what's going to happen. I did buy this car from Rhode Island. There was one owner before me. I'm assuming that this car has never been modified or touched, but if they were to go in on Tuesday, tomorrow, and they find out that it has been tampered with by someone else, well, then they could deny me the warranty replacement for that headlight, even though it wasn't me who tampered with it. In which case, it wouldn't really be that big of a deal. I would go after Rhode Island, be like, hey, you guys, like this, you know, you delivered the car to me like this, please make it right, fix the headlight. Not a big deal. However, I did check to see the price of the headlight, and it was like $2,500 in the event that you know, I wanted to do it myself, which obviously I don't. I'd like this to get replaced under warranty, and I'm not doing any modifications until I do have that replaced under warranty for obvious reasons. I do have some mods here already for this car, but honestly, this is one of those cars for me, guys. You know, I don't really know that this car needs a ton of modification. It's just really good. My whole YouTube channel has really been based off of just buying a bunch of modifications and building these cars up, but these new cars, I don't know, I think it's probably part to do with my age and part to do with just getting wiser. These cars don't really need a bunch of modifications, and once you start doing a bunch of modifications, you actually make the car worse in terms of the way that it drives, the way that it sounds, and the way that it handles. Take that for what it's worth. It's not that I'm not going to do anything to this car. I obviously am going to do some things to this car, but you know, you're gonna see far less modification to this car if you were to compare it to, say, like the 135 or like, you know, the M3 or the GTS or anything like that. So the looks, obviously subjective, still kind of getting used to it. For the most part, I'm used to the car. I like the way it looks. I do think it needs some things to make it look better. Front end is really the hardest part for me to sort of envision what it can look like. Now, obviously, I've seen other people's versions of their cars, but like picking the right front lip splitter combo has really been a process, because I'll tell you, 99% of them I do not like. I just think they look cheesy. I think they look like every other lip that's out there. There's two of them that I really do like. One of them is almost, I think it's $3,600. One of them is about $1,800. They're kind of the same, kind of different, and we'll talk about that in a future video, but you know, you're in G Series, G8X BMW, you're gonna pay G8X prices now. You go to the E92 M3 stuff or the 1M Clone 135 stuff, it's just way cheaper. Like, everything's way cheaper for those cars. You know, this car, everything's way more expensive. So be prepared for that. You're gonna just pay more for everything with the G8X cars. But again, you know, you're saving a lot off the rip by getting a G87 over a G82 and a G80. But yeah, so as far as the interior, the buckets, they're comfortable. I like them. A lot of people were saying, oh, the buckets are just way too uncomfortable. look, I'm 6'2", you guys. I'm 175 pounds. I think they're great. I think they're really, really nice. And honestly, I'm super glad that I found them. I also think that in terms of resale, the buckets are going to be, you know, if I ever want to sell this car down the road, the buckets are going to be a huge selling point, because to get these buckets in the car, it was like, what, $9 grand with the carbon package. To get these buckets in the car, if you don't have them, you're talking 15 to 20 grand to find some M2 bucket seats. Good luck with that. So, you know, I'm glad that I held out and really got the spec that I wanted. And the buckets are honestly one of my favorite things about this car. I just think that they change the entire driving experience, and it's one less thing that I have to change out, because I guarantee you, if I would have gotten the factory seats, the normal comfort seats, I would have definitely changed them out to like some pole positions or some Recaros or whatever. 100% glad that I just went this route and found the one that I wanted and did the buckets. So outside of that, you guys, I'm not gonna ramble too much longer here. So outside of that, this car has been awesome, you guys. Like, I have zero regrets. I see this car being a long-term car for me, unless I find something better that is around the same price point, that does everything as good as this car does. I just don't know if there is that car out there yet, because this car is really freaking good, dude. It just does everything so well. And once you find a car like that, especially for this price, it's hard to pass up, it's hard to replace. So I know it's only been a week and I'm talking about, oh, would I ever get rid of it? So it's hard to just take that at face value. But for me personally, this seems like a car that I could keep around in the garage with all of my other cars and keep it around for a while, because it's a really good, capable car. One of the biggest reasons I bought this car is because I wanted to take this thing to the track, and I wanted to take it, I wanted to drive it out to CMP, which is an hour away, and I wanted to have a track day, and I wanted to turn around and drive it home. I did that once with my E36 and I almost didn't make it. It was risky business. One of the biggest selling points for me on this car was obviously being that it's a newer platform, it's got the tech, it's a good daily driver, I can do all the things I want it to do, but also I can just drive it to the track, have a fun track day with my friends, turn around and drive it home. I'm not going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to fall apart. The car will be fast on track and it will be comfortable on the way home. Like there was just so many selling points. And then I can turn around and take my girl out to dinner that same night. You know what I mean? Like it's really difficult to find cars these days that you can do all of that in for the amount of money you spend on a G87. So should you buy one? Yeah, bro, you should buy one. This car's awesome. So like I said before, if you're trying to figure out how to get into these joints, the hand goes right here, the legs go over, because you will start, dude, these bolsters are high, dude. These are high bolsters. But yeah, super happy with it so far, you guys. 1 week in, obviously nothing crazy, but the car is just so nice and so fantastic. I will say it definitely needs like a good, thorough detail. I've only washed it twice so far. Seems like a lot, but it did snow here, so I gave it an actual like hand wash, and she cleaned up well. Didn't notice any like visible damage or any weird stuff like that. There's a couple of tiny little nicks on front, but nothing crazy. And yeah, so far it's been really, really awesome. We'll do a little walk around. So we'll just talk about some of the things I have coming. I have the reflector deletes coming. I have a badge set coming. I have PPF going on the car. Not sure if I'm gonna do that satin PPF, guys. I've kind of fallen in love with like the black sapphire metallic, and I feel like a lot of that metallic will go away if I do the satin PPF, so we might just be chilling. But we got some suspension going on. I do have an exhaust setup going on. Not sure if I'm really gonna change much back here. Kind of just, I don't know. I don't know if you need to do a lot of these cars. I don't know, dude. Call me crazy. Some nice pads will go well with this car. But yeah, this is the only eyesore. I mean, look at all of that water in there. And you can see the film that's developing on the inside. Like, that just doesn't go away now because of all of the water. So there's definitely a bad seal somewhere in this headlight. It'll be interesting to see what they say, because, you know, they do have to investigate before they actually like apply warranty to this replacement. I don't think that anything was ever tampered with before. I did do some research, and there are a lot of people saying, you know, this is a common thing. Not common, but it's not unheard of with the G42s and the G87s and even the G80s. So if you are experiencing something like that, take it in. That is warranty. That is not normal. Don't let them tell you it is normal. It's not. So there she is. But yeah, you guys, this is going to wrap up my 1 week review so far. More to come. If you have any questions about the G87, leave them down in the comments. I'm really trying to help anyone out here who is interested in buying this car and kind of what you can expect from it. You know, if you are going to spec this car out, just my one piece of advice, you guys, if you're looking for one of these cars, just wait until you find the exact one you want. Do not settle, because I'm telling you right now, if you wait for the one you want, you're going to be so much happier down the long run, and it's worth it. In my opinion, it's worth it. So anyways, I appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Needs a new wheel, 100%.
What you say about the owner?
The owner is sexy. Sexier than the car.
It's in the bucket. Tell me what you think.
I'll sit it on you.
Damn, you get in that shit like a bitch.
I'm trying to clean my shoes though.
Comfortable?
Pretty comfortable. I don't know what the heck this gooch thing's
That's
going
for your
on.
nuts. It's like a little nut plate.
So you definitely have the left foot brake. Needs a new wheel, 1000%.
Yeah, the wheel's fucking cooked. I'm not a fan of the wheel.
I'm getting it wet already.
Oh, you're good, bro.
Full Alcantara for sure.
Not bad, man.
No, dude, this is massive for a little tiny car, you know?
Yeah, it's a big car, dude. It's a big freaking car.
It's been great, man.
It's a big car.
Needs full Adro kit, wide body.
This guy, dude. It needs all kinds of shit. It needs a headlight first.
I know, I saw that when I came out. I'm like, damn.
It's getting replaced tomorrow.
Under warranty?
Yeah, under warranty. All right. The headlight's $2,500, but it's free for me. Yeah. Check it out. Vegas red G90, dude. We're gonna be developing some parts for these cars. Jesus. R8 loud as shit. We're developing some parts for these. This thing's gonna rip.
That might be the top tuning guy, the guy that just pulled up.
That over? God, that R8 is loud.
Car like that.
So one of our customers just picked this car up. New G90. Got the white interior in Vegas red. This car is freaking sick, dude. These are crazy. So we're actually developing downpipes and exhaust systems for this car, and we're going to be, in a future video, you're going to see we have two G90s right now. We're going to have downpipes, we're going to have full exhaust systems for the car, and we're going to do a full video on the stock power and tuning it and making more power. It's going to be sick. So this is going to be a little development car for us. Brakes are freaking huge, dude. This color is dope, dude. You can get the M2 in this color too, Vegas red. Pretty sick. So we actually have, this is his new car. And then we have his M4 over here. Little wash going down. Kevin's washing the cars. We got his M4 right here that has a ton of stuff done to it. But we built this up here and then did a video on it. I think we did a video on this like, I want to say 6 months ago or so. And then he just sold his G80. So he's got the G82. He just sold his G80, picked up the G90. And then we also have his X5M inside that we've done some things to as well. I'll show you guys that. G82.
Yeah, whose car?
Same guy with the G90.
Oh, okay.
This entire car is wrapped. It's all coming off. Being paint corrected.
And this is his X5M. goals, dude. He's got a crazy garage.
Malachite green metallic.
Malachite green metallic. What a crazy color. Bro's got all the sick cars. Dope. So we just femto unlocked this one, and we're doing like some carbon bits to it, downpipes, exhaust intakes, all that stuff. So then it'll get tuned. And he's got crazy, crazy cars. Pretty cool.